We've had a significant fire here at Fifth Third Ballpark. To see the place in flames, it was very, very difficult. It's a lot more than just a business. It's a part of our fabric, part of our families. Our kids grew up here. We love this place. We'll rebuild it and we'll be just as strong and just as vibrant as we ever have been.
This is 24-Hour News 8.
First at 5, a raging fire rips through a portion of the Fifth Third Ballpark, and breaking now, we just learned it was started by a work crew using a heater in a suite. We're talking to the fire chief, and we'll have more on that in just moments. An estimated third or so of the facility is in ruins. It is a heartbreaking sight to anyone who's been to this park, a place full of memories for millions. Good evening, everyone. It is quite a day of news. I'm Rick Albin in studio.
And I'm Marley Ginter, field anchoring our live team coverage here at the ballpark. Just quite a scene to see out here. We do have fire investigators on scene right now, as well as work crews working to get the electricity back on, and several people right now surveying some of the damage. I want to step off camera so you can see where we've been able to come up close here to the first base gate. You can get an idea of just some of the damage here, but I want to tell you, we want to show you what it looks like from the air, because boy, can you see the devastation. We sent a chopper up to give you a better idea of just how much of that stadium is damaged. The entire length of the structure along the first base line wiped out, and that includes the suites and most of what was under them. Now here's what we are working to bring you tonight. We'll tell you what happened, how 30 employees managed to get out safely. We'll tell you the problems firefighters faced, including issues with the building's sprinkler systems and the lack of hydrants. That's what we've been investigating today. Plus, we're going to tell you what's next for the future of the ballpark, as we've been speaking with, of course, many officials out here trying to figure out when or if baseball season will start on time. We have multiple crews bringing you these stories tonight. Ken Kolker, Henry Erb, Jack Doles. But first, we want to get to 24-Hour News 8's Joe LaFurgie, who just received some breaking information on how this fire may have started. Joe?
That's right, Marley. I just got off the phone with the fire chief here in Plainfield Township, Dave Peterson. He tells me that late this afternoon they have been talking to employees, some work crews, I should say, we're inside the one of the suites here at Fifth Third Park, and I want to step out of the way and show you as those suites, what's left of the suites and the area under them continues to smolder. There's even a small fire going on at the top of what was one of those suites. Chief Peterson tells me there was a work crew in one of the suites this morning. They were using a small heater. That heater caused a small fire. That work crew put that fire out. Apparently didn't call the fire department. That work crew thought the fire was out, put that fire out, left, and when they came back, the whole area was engulfed. 11 a.m., smoke is seen billowing from a suite at Fifth Third Ballpark. About 30 employees are evacuated. The sprinkler system fails to control the spread of the flames. It took fire crews several minutes to stretch hose lines to get to the fire, allowing those flames to race from west to east throughout the suites and concession area along the first base line.
It did start in one of the suites, spread into the attic area, and once it gets in the attic, it tends to move pretty fast because it has a lot of oxygen and there aren't a lot of fire breaks.
Plainfield firefighters get some help from Grand Rapids, Walker, Alpine, and Rockford. Within a half hour of the first call, the fire overruns the first base side of the park. Crews on the concourse were told to get out. It was too dangerous to fight the fire from inside. Along with the heavy fire conditions, water pressure was an issue.
Everything from about the center home plate down the first base side is pretty much destroyed.
Flames began to eat away at suites and concessions along the third base side of the park, but fire crews battling low water pressure and sub-zero wind chills made a stand, stopping the flames from destroying the rest of the park. And again, back here live at Fifth Third Park, as you see those flames still smoldering at the top and on the bottom there, and that's what crews are going to be working on throughout the night. All these little hot spots that come up, they'll be trying to stamp those fires out. And just to recap what we learned at the top of the hour, it appears a work crew was in one of those suites sometime this morning. They were working with they had some sort of space heater or some kind of heater inside. There was a fire broke out, a small fire. That work crew put it out, left. When they came back, the ballpark was engulfed in flames. Now, to many, this may just be a ballpark fire. To others, well, this is a tough memory to take on. We'll hear more reaction at 6. Back to you.
And Joe, just to make sure everyone understands too, this may have started with something that the work crews were doing, but all of those workers were able to get out safely.
Well, you had employees of the ballpark inside working downstairs, and they actually work on the other side of the ballpark that was pretty much had just small damage of the flames. About 30 people, they were able to get out, but there was also a crew, apparently some kind of construction crew or work crew in one of those suites working separately. Everybody got out okay. There have been no injuries to report. An ambulance showed up just a few minutes ago. Marley, you might have seen it from your vantage point. Somebody, and we're not sure who here, reporting some lightheadedness, some dizziness, which is to be expected from all the smoke that everybody's been smelling all afternoon, but it was not a serious case. They're taking those folks away, but that is the only time an ambulance has had to come here for any injuries. That, according to the fire chief I talked to just a few minutes ago.
Okay, Joe LaFurgey, thank you so much. Now, we've learned one of the big problems firefighters face today was a lack of hydrants. Now, they say it hindered their effort to first fight these fires. So 24 News 8's Henry Erb has been looking into that part of the story and is telling us why this lack of fire hydrants actually hurt the firefighters. Henry?
Yeah, Marley, low water pressure and a delay in getting the battle against this fire started. That's the nasty surprise that firefighters found when they got here today. They had to pipe water more than 1,000 feet from hydrants outside the ballpark property. That meant that when the water got to the fire, the stream didn't have the power they needed, and having to lay hose long distances delayed fighting the fire by 15 minutes, according to the chief.
There's 2 hydrants, and the first 2 apparatus use those. The other hydrants are on the edges of the property, and because of that, and because of the size of the property, it was a long lay.
The chief says there weren't enough fire hydrants close enough for the number of hoses they needed to try to get ahead of the fire as it burned steadily through the building, a fire that they never got under control until it ran out of things to burn.
When they rebuild, we're going to be requesting more hydrants. Probably requiring more hydrants is a better way to put that.
And during a news conference this afternoon, ballpark officials say they're going to do whatever the fire department asks them to do. Back to you.
Now, despite the damage, one of the men responsible for bringing the Whitecaps to West Michigan says that baseball will be started in the spring. 24 News 8's Ken Kolker is continuing our live team coverage with that part of the story. He heard from that owner today. Ken?
Yeah, Marley, we're standing over the right center field wall, and I first wanted to show you something. That there are still fires smoldering there along the first baseline. Those fires have been going since almost the beginning, and they're still, I can see at least 2 of those fires. Now, as for the future of the stadium, it was actually 20 years ago, last April, that I stood on this very spot and actually watched that very first opening game. Today, the man who helped bring baseball and the Whitecaps to West Michigan got emotional as he talked about the fire.
There are a great deal of emotions. It's a lot more than just a business. It's a community member, and we've got a lot of ourselves into this, a lot of family.
This stadium is a big part of West Michigan. More than 8 million fans have gone through the gates. Now, Whitecaps co-founder Dennis Baxter is counting again on fan support.
And I think that they're going to rally around us, and they're going to help us through our difficult time.
The fire destroyed 11 or 12 suites all down the right field line, but none of his 30 employees were hurt. Even as the stadium still smoldered, Baxter stood in a room beyond the center field wall, a room that smelled like smoke, and vowed a strong comeback. The Whitecaps, he said, will play here on opening day, April 8th.
20 years ago, folks used to say, you know, if you build it, they will come, given the movie. I'd like to believe here once again, if we rebuild it, they will come once again.
Though he acknowledged the stadium might not be totally rebuilt by then. Could you open here opening day without that rebuilt?
Certainly we can. The playing field's in perfect condition. The bowl of the stadium at this point does not look to be touched, and so we have every intention of playing here in April.
Now, Baxter said that the team's parent club, the Detroit Tigers, has offered its support. Now, this year they're going to be playing the Midwest All-Star game here, and Baxter said that game will go on as planned. Live in Grand Rapids, Ken Kolker, 24 Hour News 8.
Ken, thank you. And the ballpark means so much, of course, to so many of you, and really it means so much to many of us out here covering this story. But it also has a very special bond with the players. Jack Doles is in studio with that story.
Yeah, Marley, fans have flocked to this park since it opened in 1994. It's been a part of our summers ever since. But Fifth Third's Ballpark is also at a special bond with the players that have come through the Midwest League. Take a look at this video from 1994. This was the first time the Whitecaps players had a chance to see the brand new park, and they were blown away, moved some players to tears. Remember, they played, this Whitecap team played in a dump of a park in Madison, Wisconsin the year before, where they played in front of sparse crowds. Since then, more than 8 million fans have watched the Whitecaps play baseball at Fifth Third Ballpark. It's hosted 2 All-Star games, 5 Midwest League Championship Series. 3 of them clinched in front of the home fans, setting off wild celebrations. The Caps scheduled to host the All-Star game again this year, and they are going to do everything in their power, Denny Baxter says, to make sure the 50th Midwest League All-Star game is going on here in West Michigan.
Is this going to change anything?
Absolutely not. We'll have a better celebration than we ever had.
And so you would expect to have that rebuilt at least by the All-Star game?
Yes, sir.
And Marley, coming up in sports at 6, we'll talk to one of the men from Midwest League, how they plan and believe that the Whitecaps will be able to pull this thing off.
All right, Jack, thank you. Quite an upset for so many people, but obvious, a lot of confidence that the games will go on in the spring. Now, the fire caused quite a backup along US 131, which you know runs right alongside the ballpark here. So we want to go to Kevin Richards now live to show us what traffic looks like now.
Some good news, Marley. Northbound 131 slowing down a little bit for the hey, look at that factor, but dry pavement, and it's a lot lighter than usual for a Friday afternoon, end of the holiday week. Now down below on West River Drive, we had several reports of crashes and a little bit of icy pavement, and it's an oh my gosh factor on West River Drive, so there's a fairly big backup on West River Drive off and on near 131 in the ballpark, but the freeway's doing okay. For 24-hour News 8, Kevin Richards, News Radio, Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Very nice to hear that. All right, thanks, Kevin. Now, of course, our crews will stay out here all night long to bring you all of the latest developments. Coming up at 5:30, we'll update you on what's happening here. The fire comes on the 20th anniversary of Fifth Third Ballpark. We'll take a look back at these last 2 decades of the team in West Michigan, and it's been an emotional day, as you can imagine, for employees, for fans, for all of us who love coming to the ballpark. We're going to hear from one of the co-founders on why this has been particularly tough. And as you know, our coverage also continues online at woodtv.com, where we're posting constant updates and have a photo gallery. For now, we want to turn things back over to Rick Albin in studio with today's other news. Rick?
Marley, but for this fire, the big story of the day would have been the bitter cold weather outside. Look at some of these temperatures right now. Sadly, that temperature in Fremont is about 29 degrees higher than it was when I came to work this morning. Something? I mean, and it's only 15 above.
I know we were 9 below here in Grand Rapids, but some of the outlying areas were as cold as 20 below zero here this morning.
I mean, this is really cold.
And this is interesting. We're not going to be quite that cold temperature-wise, but it will feel so much colder when we get to Monday and Tuesday because the wind will be so strong around here.
Wow, that's not good news.
No, we got a lot to talk about here. First of all, not much in the way of snow out there at the current time. We did have some lake snow come in, especially over toward the Muskegon area, where about 1 to 2 inches of snow has fallen, and nothing left there but just a few flurries, and those will kind of drift off to the northeast and fall apart here for the evening. Main thing is the cold. You can see current temperatures anywhere from about 12 to or 11 to 15 in inland areas. It's a little bit warmer near the lake where a south-southwest wind comes off the water. 22 on the beach there at Muskegon and Ludington. Factor in the wind. Our wind chill temperature is at -1 Grand Rapids and -5 at Kalamazoo and Battle Creek. Here's what we expect this evening. Temperatures holding pretty steady here, around 14-15 degrees. Again, a little bit warmer north of Muskegon along the lake. South winds 15 to 25 miles an hour means wind chill temperatures around 0. We have a winter storm watch and a wind chill watch. We'll tell you about that in a few minutes.
All right, Bill, thanks. There is other news today. Grand Rapids police caught an alleged rapist. They say he broke into an apartment on the city's northwest side and attacked a woman as she slept. 24-hour News 8 Susan Samples is just back from police headquarters and says police fear there may have been more victims. Susan?
That's right, Rick. Police say the attack happened at an apartment building in the 500 block of 7th Street Northwest between Broadway and Seward. GRPD tells me 29-year-old Jose Guadalupe Suarez Cruz was able to get inside the building, they believe, in the first place because he had been invited to a New Year's Eve party at one of the apartments. Police say the victim awakened to Suarez Cruz attacking her around 9 a.m. New Year's Day. The victim did not know Suarez Cruz, but others in the building told police they had noticed his odd behavior the night before. In fact, they told police that Suarez Cruz had walked right into 2 other apartments as if he belonged there.
All the parties going on, led to his opportunity to get in and out of some of the apartments where typically he probably wouldn't be let in. But just his boldness of walking into apartments stood out to some of the people that we talked to there.
Here's also why police fear there may be other victims. Suarez Cruz showed up in those other apartments around 2 a.m. but left when confronted by residents there. The actual attack did not happen until 9 a.m. at another apartment in the same building. So they're wondering what he was doing in between that time from 2 a.m. to 9 a.m. They want you to call if you have any information. Police talked to many people in the building and friends of friends to develop Suarez Cruz as a suspect, they tell me. They found him at his home on the southeast side. We checked, and the state police database does not have a criminal record for him. He is an undocumented immigrant who now sits in the Kent County Jail charged with criminal sexual conduct and home invasion. We'll follow the case. In the newsroom, Susan Samples, back to you.
The flu is spreading in Kent County. We'll get you the latest numbers from the health department and why this time of year could be worse coming up. And of course, our coverage of the devastation at Fifth Third Ballpark continues. We'll continue to get the latest from the still active scene. Plus, we'll take a look back at the ballpark's place in West Michigan's history.
Always tracking, always alerting. This is Storm Team 8.
Now, most of us will stay dry overnight tonight, so it'll be a good night to get out, probably the best night out of the next 4 or 5. And as you can see, there's still a few flurries here from Muskegon north, and that's about it. That shouldn't slow you down. We have a winter storm watch essentially southeast of a line from Holland to around Alma, and this is for snow that will come Saturday afternoon and especially Saturday night into Sunday. The farther southeast you go, the more snow there is going to be. We ran the computer here showing you the snowfall that's going to be occurring here through Sunday morning, and you can see there's not a whole lot off to the north, but once you get off to the south, you can see these higher totals, and these will increase. This is only till Sunday at 7 a.m. During the day Sunday, there is more snow here. I can see Battle Creek winding up with 7 or 8 inches, Jackson 9, and maybe as much as 11 over toward the Detroit area. We also have a wind chill watch. This will be for some very dangerously cold wind chill temperatures here for Sunday night through the day on Tuesday. This will fill in the entire state and neighboring states as well will be under wind chill advisories or warnings. Here's a look at what we expect this evening. 14 degrees, should be a little cool out there, but not bad if you're going around. Main roads are in pretty good shape. Still a few slippery spots on some of the side streets. Here's what we're tracking. First of all, lots to talk about here. Windy and cold weather for tonight and tomorrow. We will see snow develop tomorrow, most of that coming during the late in the day period. So if you want to get out while the roads are still in pretty good shape, morning would be a good time to do that. And that snow will last into the day on Sunday. And then very cold snow, drifting snow, blowing snow. Coldest temperatures that we've had here since 2007 for Monday and Tuesday. We're at 15. We got a south wind today, and we're still 15 degrees colder than normal for this time of year. Warmer temperatures are along the lakeshore north of Muskegon. These are winds, and those winds are going to hold up tonight and tomorrow, so it will be rather cold with these wind chill temperatures around or even a little bit below zero at times here overnight tonight. Here's the next 24 hours or so. Clouds tonight clear out for a little bit, and then they come on back. Tomorrow morning, there could be a little bit of lake effect snow in Newaygo County to the north. Strong winds pushing that a little bit inland from where the lake is, and then that expands off to the south here during the day tomorrow. So as we get into tomorrow night, most of the snow is going to be southeast of Grand Rapids, where that watch is in effect. 8-day forecast looks like this. A windy day tomorrow. We might make low 30s. There could even be a little bit of drifting snow because the winds will be fairly strong. Strongest winds will be in the morning. Winds will calm down a bit during the afternoon. Cold front comes through. Temperatures drop here on Sunday. 25 will be in the morning, 16 late. 2 very cold days Monday and Tuesday with a lot of blowing and drifting snow. Travel will be really tough those 2 days. We continue to see snow. I've got snowfall forecasts in there. Some spots could easily see 6 to 12 inches of snow here with this cold blast coming in across Lake Michigan.
All right, Bill, thanks a lot. If you haven't gotten your flu shot, officials say now's the time. Up next, new flu numbers from Kent County as the cases increase. And of course, all of our crews are still there at Fifth Third Ballpark monitoring the situation after a part of that structure was destroyed by fire early this afternoon. At 5:30, we'll get you the latest from authorities. Plus, we'll take a look back at the park's history. Well, there were many people out of power in the Lansing area because of that big ice storm recently. The Board of Water and Light's general manager was on vacation. Now backlash is rising. Hear why he says he won't resign. As a parent with small kids, you don't want to hear this. Thousands of car seats are being recalled because they're not strong enough. Combi, C-O-M-B-I, USA, is recalling all of its seats made before January 2013, all of them. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says the seat straps don't meet minimum strength requirements. Company says the seats are still safe because the harness as a whole meets safety standards. Now, if you've got one of the affected seats, Combi will notify you and send you a free harness replacement kit, but that doesn't start till February. Flu cases rising in Kent County, and health officials say now is still the time to protect yourself. The Center for Disease Control announced today that 25 states are reporting widespread flu activity, up from just 10 last week. With the holidays wrapped up, people going back to school and work, the virus is more likely to spread from person to person. Right now, there are 230 reported flu cases in the Kent County area, but the health department says only about 8% of cases get reported, so that number could actually be much higher.
Just because you haven't got sick in the past is no guarantee that you're not going to get sick now. And getting a flu shot is so easy and it's so affordable. There's really no reason not to do it.
CDC says everyone 6 months and older should get a flu shot. You can get one at the Kent County Health Department. We have a link where you can schedule online at woodtv.com. Well, part of the Fifth Third Ballpark was destroyed this afternoon after a fire swept through part of that structure. Our team coverage continues after the break with a look at the park's history. And we're talking to Whitecaps officials about the emotional toll that the disaster is taking on them.
Now, this morning was the coldest morning we've had in 3 years. Take a look at some of these low temperatures. We were -9 in Grand Rapids, missed a daily record by just 2 degrees. Temperature made it all the way down to 15 below in Coldwater. Some of the outlying areas as cold as -20. We got very cold air and lots of snow in the Storm Team 8-day forecast. We'll have that for you straight ahead.
Always tracking, always alerting. This is Storm Team 8.
Well, temperatures have warmed up 20 to 25 degrees, and look at, they're still about 15 degrees colder than normal. We started out the day with temperatures in Battle Creek down around -12 or +12 now. Grand Haven at 19, South Haven is at 16, and Ionia right now checking in with 13 degrees. Let's take a look at what we have going on across the area. Just a couple of snowflakes left here in Muskegon County. Those are ending, and I think most of us will stay dry here for the evening hours. Main thing is the cold temperatures and the wind. We're 15 now here in Grand Rapids, only 12 Kalamazoo and Battle Creek. Warmest temperatures are at the lake north of Muskegon, where the south wind comes across the water. In fact, Ludington, the warmest there on the beach at 23. These are current wind chill temperatures: -1 Grand Rapids, -5 Kalamazoo, Battle Creek. It's going to be cold if you're stepping out here this evening. Here's the way it looks. Evening temperatures will be holding pretty steady. I think most of us will be around 14 here for much of the evening. A little bit warmer there north of Muskegon, but it will be windy. It will be cold. Main roads in pretty good shape. There's still some slick spots on the side streets and rural roads. Coming up, a winter storm watch and a wind chill watch in effect. We'll tell you when those hit in just a little bit.
And back live now at Fifth Third Ballpark, where we witnessed just a devastating scene of this fire out here at the ballpark. We have live team coverage out here. We first broke this at 5 o'clock. What we're now learning may have caused the fire. I'm joined right now with Assistant Chief with the Plainfield Township Fire Department, Steve McKellar. Thank you so much for being with us here tonight. I know this has been a long day for all of you out here, but now get us up to speed on what we're hearing has been the cause of this fire, as possibly involving a work crew out here.
Yeah, we got a report after the initial investigation that they were working in that suite. They had a small fire in that suite caused by a space heater thought they had it out, walked away from it. Fire alarms went off. They found that they had smoke in the building.
So possibly started by some small heater out here, and then there were quite a bit of problems as well that firefighters faced. First regarding the sprinklers maybe not working well, and then a lack of fire hydrants that firefighters had to deal with as well.
Basically, we addressed the sprinkler systems from our report after investigation. The sprinkler system was down. We got here on the scene, we hooked up to the fire department connection of the sprinklers. We pumped into them, they started working then. The problem with the fire hydrants at this facility, they're all on the third base side. There are 3 of them on the third base side. There's nothing on the first base side of the structure. That's where one of the aerial trucks set up at.
Definitely a couple of things for officials to look at as they start to rebuild out here. Where do we go from here now? From what we have learned just standing out here, we've seen quite a few more crews coming in because of hotspots flaring up. Is that what we will see throughout the night?
Right, tonight we had, like you've seen, we had a couple crews in there right now looking at hotspots and stuff. The first base side of the structure collapsed down on the second floor onto the first floor, down onto the concourse. So a lot of the hot spots got trapped in there. We're going to be dealing with that probably all night long. Once we clear it tonight, pretty soon here we'll do our hourly fire checks. Yeah.
All right, well, stay warm and stay safe out here with your crews.
And you too.
Steve McKellar, Assistant Fire Chief with the Plainfield Fire Department. Now, of course, we have several crews out here on scene right now. And, you know, this is definitely much more than a place, much more than a building. This is an area that has had so many memories. So for so many of you, for so many of us out here covering the story tonight, I want to bring in 24-Hour News 8's Leon Hendricks now, because you are taking us back, taking us through the history of just what is here at the ballpark.
Right, Marley, and I grew up here, so I remember as a boy when this was built and when this opened. It was really a big deal. You got to remember, this was before the Van Andel Arena downtown. This is a really big deal, and it all started with year one, and it was really exciting time.
It's become one of the family fun landmarks of the area, and West Michigan welcomed what was then the old Kent Park in a big way. 1994 was the year our West Michigan Whitecaps first graced the field, and we were there when they got a first look at their new home.
Holy cow! I'm looking forward to, like you said, throwing that first pitch out.
But they likely did not know just how many others were looking forward to the same. Season ticket sales took off and crowds packed the ballpark. A first season record with 74 wins, 65 losses. The Whitecaps saw it as a huge success.
I mean, all you wall-to-wall people is my image of Old Kent Park, and you never see that in any park anywhere.
It didn't take long for the Whitecaps to get comfortable at Fifth Third Ballpark.
Like a pair of shoes that have been broken in.
And the park expanded, nearly doubling its capacity to fit some 10,000 people. Today, Fifth Third Ballpark officials promising that this is just another page in the already storied history of West Michigan's ballpark, promising today that it will be restored.
So you got to remember here that obviously there's a lot of sadness also with this. Anytime we lose some of the original structure of something that's such an important part of our city, it's also a difficult time for a lot of people who really put a lot of work into making this a possibility. Good to hear, though, that it's going to stay.
Oh, that's what everyone wants to hear. I brought my children out here for their very first ball game just this past summer, so it is so devastating for so many people to see the ballpark burn like this. In fact, we've been hearing from fans all across West Michigan who were just heartbroken to see this on the news today. And you can also imagine then how tough this day was for the people who brought the Whitecaps to West Michigan. We want to continue our team coverage now with 24-Hour News 8's Tom Hillen.
Well, Marley, obviously a very tough, very emotional day for many of us who have lived in West Michigan our entire lives, but also for the people that are responsible for bringing the Whitecaps here to West Michigan. I do want to give you another look at what we're seeing here inside the stadium, still seeing those flames burning in parts of the ballpark here. CFO Dennis Baxter was already having an emotional day. He was actually with his wife as she was getting a chemo treatment when he got the call that the ballpark here was on fire. Now, Baxter has been involved with this team since the get-go. He was also involved long before that first season back in 1994. He and Lou Chamberlain first started pursuing a team to come here to West Michigan 10 years before 1994, 10 years before the Whitecaps first played here. So for him, getting this news today was very difficult.
My wife is actually undergoing chemo today, and we were dealing with an insurance issue there, and he called and I said, seriously, today, just stunned. And I wanted to make sure that she was settled with her situation before I came over. This place obviously means the world to me. She's just a little bit more. I have shed a few tears today. It's really difficult. More so than I would have thought. In some sense, it's building and structure, and the heart of this organization is behind me. And yet, it was still very, very difficult and very emotional for me. But you get over that initial shock, and you say, all right, what do we got to do? What's the job? What's the next task?
Now, Baxter was very optimistic about rebuilding and what the future holds for baseball here in West Michigan. But obviously, from what you can tell, that the scene behind me, it's going to be a very long road. Live in Comstock Park, Tom Hillen, 24-Hour News 8.
Tom, thank you. And of course, many of you know that this ballpark hosts a lot more than just ball games. You've seen many of it hosts outdoor concerts, festivals, weddings, meetings, holiday parties. Most notably, it hosts the Rock the Rapids Music Festival, Taste of Grand Rapids, the Meyer State Games of Michigan, along with Tigers watch parties, basketball tournaments, and high school football events. The Winter Beer Festival is scheduled to be held here in February. A statement from organizers today says the Michigan Brewers Guild is certainly concerned about our upcoming beer festival at the Fifth Third Ballpark, but our first concern is for all of our friends at the West Michigan Whitecaps. Because our event is held outside the ballpark in the parking lot, we are hopeful that it will turn out well. We will do our best to keep fans of Michigan beer informed in coming days as we learn more. So many people, of course, still confident that the events that are hosted out here will continue and go on. And we are going to continue following this story. Stay tuned for more live team coverage at 6 o'clock, and we're posting updates as they come in online at woodtv.com.
Thank you, Marley. A brutal and dangerous winter storm that started in the Midwest earlier, and this has dumped nearly 2 feet of snow now in parts of the Northeast. The storm, which is being blamed for at least 11 deaths, has left behind mounds of snow and bone-chilling temperatures. Sarah Doloff is in New York with a look at that impact.
The powerful winter storm is gone, but the mounds of snow and bone-chilling temperatures remain. As much as 2 feet of snow fell on parts of Massachusetts, where wind chills reached as low as 20 below.
It's a nightmare out there. It's really, really cold, and the winds are just brutal.
Experienced New Englanders bundled up.
I have 8 layers on underneath it.
But the dangerous cold and slick roads were no laughing matter for New York City's new mayor, just 3 days on the job.
People should not be on the roads today if there's any way they can help it.
Many who did venture out found trouble. This was the scene out on Long Island, where cars were no match for the mounting snow. Air travel also ground to a halt at several airports across the region. Thousands of flights canceled or delayed, as the airports today struggle to get back to normal operations. Meanwhile, out on the shore, the classic nor'easter pushed the surf inland, causing coastal flooding. In North Attleboro, Massachusetts, firefighters braved the weather to put out this fire. The building, earlier engulfed in flames, is now encased in ice. But despite the wet snow and bitter cold, there are those finding time to enjoy the first winter blast of 2014.
While the snow has stopped, residents aren't out of the woods yet. Temperatures tomorrow are going to be bitterly cold, especially when you factor in that wind chill. On Long Island, I'm Sarah Doloff, NBC News.
The man accused of shooting 4 people at a Muskegon County party, killing one of them, is now officially charged. Deontay Black Wycliffe was arraigned today on 5 charges, being held on a $2 million bond. He's accused of opening fire on a porch full of people, killing Gary O'Green III and injuring 3 others. Police say Black Wycliffe took off after the shooting but turned himself into police yesterday. Police believe a woman who may have been drinking before she was hit by a car in Wyoming overnight. We first told you about this last night at 11. Police say a 59-year-old Wyoming woman was walking in the roadway on Byron Center Avenue Southeast when she was hit by a car. The driver told police she tried to avoid the woman, but the woman walked into the path of her car. Victim is hospitalized in serious condition. As the Obamacare contraceptive fight continues, there is a new study poking another hole in one of the president's promises. And the general manager of Light and Power in Lansing defends himself after it surfaces that he went on vacation when many people were without power. Welcome back. Here is a look at how the stock market closed today. The Dow picked up a little of what it lost yesterday, but not nearly all of it. Still closing at 16,469. Pretty good place for the Dow to be, up 28 today. NASDAQ down 11. S&P down fractionally. Crude oil still hovering around $95 at 94.23. Ford tonight is saying that U.S. sales jumped 11% in 2013 to nearly 2.5 million. That's a 6-year high as a stronger economy boosted pickup truck sales. Chrysler says its U.S. sales rose 6% last month. Their Jeep brand finished 2013 up 3%. General Motors says its December U.S. sales fell more than 6%, but the company still finished the year with a 7.3% increase. In a Supreme Court filing, the Obama administration today again demanded that Catholic nuns provide birth control to their employees, just like all other employers are now required to do. But a report from Oregon seems a bigger threat to the president's health care plan and to his claim it will reduce expensive non-emergency visits to the ER. The study sounds worrisome to some. As more patients got Medicare, just as many will under Obamacare, their visits to emergency rooms went up by 40%. President Obama had promised the opposite.
Patients, a lot of times the only place that they can get care is the emergency department.
And the idea that they come in and this discovery that if you give them more opportunity, they do come in, that's not all bad.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. Obamacare is about people getting access to health care services, and what the study found is it's really doing that.
Meanwhile, Walgreens and Rite Aid announced they will fill prescriptions this month for anyone signed up for Obamacare, but not charge them until their new card comes through. Former First Lady Barbara Bush remains in a Houston hospital for treatment of a respiratory-related condition. The 88-year-old wife of former President George Herbert Walker Bush has been there since Monday. No timetable has been given for her release, but Bush family spokesperson says she is doing well, adding that her hospital stay is likely the result of physicians being extra cautious.
Well, our low temperature of 9 below zero this morning. Coldest temperature in 3 years and 28 degrees colder than average for this time of year. It's going to stay cold while we get up to our average high tomorrow. A strong wind will make it feel chilly. Temperatures only reach the single figures here Monday and Tuesday with wind chills down to minus 25. Up next, we'll see how much snow you get over the weekend.
Fifth Third Ballpark goes up in flames. Coming up at 6, we're speaking live with one of the co-founders about what his plans are for the Whitecaps moving forward.
Always tracking, always alerting. This is Storm Team 8.
Earlier today, several hours of snow over toward the Muskegon area, but that has dried up, and I think most of us stay dry this evening. Main roads in pretty good shape. Some of those side streets, rural roads, sidewalks, driveways still have some slick spots. Winter storm watch is in effect. This is essentially if you were to draw a line from Holland to Alma and south. This starts late Saturday afternoon, continues into Monday morning, and that is for some significant snow, which will be off to the south and east of Grand Rapids for the most part. We may pick up an inch or two here, but the heavier snow to our south. This is through Sunday morning, and we're into the 3 to 5 inch category here to the south, but this is not the end of the snow. It'll keep snowing through the day on Sunday, and I would suspect that there could be 6 inches or more from Lansing and Battle Creek off to the east over toward the Detroit area. In fact, Detroit could see up to a foot of snow from this system. We also have a wind chill watch in effect. This is Sunday night through Tuesday. And boy, I tell you, wind chills could be down around minus 25 then. Pretty cold out there now. We're at 15 Grand Rapids, just 12 Kalamazoo and Battle Creek. Will likely fall down to about 12 here in Grand Rapids and then kind of a level off. Wind chills -5 along I-94, -1 Grand Rapids, just 12 on the beach at Grand Haven, where the wind is coming in off the water. Heading out this evening, you'll find temperatures hanging around 12 to 14 above, windy and cold, but again, I think we'll be staying dry. We're talking snow and cold in the long-range outlook here. Windy cold for tonight and tomorrow. We'll see snow develop tomorrow across the area. In most areas, not till afternoon. So if you got some errands to run, you might want to think about doing that in the morning. And that snow continues into Sunday. Very cold snow, blowing snow, drifting snow Monday and Tuesday. I would suspect that many schools will be closed here for both Monday and on Tuesday. Again, these temperatures should hold pretty steady here overnight tonight. And with our winds as strong as they are out there, wind chills will certainly remain on the cold side here overnight tonight. Take a look at the next 24 hours for you, and you can see clouds clear out for just a short time tonight. This is 10 a.m. tomorrow morning with the snow off to the north of Grand Rapids, and then it kind of overspreads the area. And you can see as we head toward Saturday night, if you were to draw a line from just north of Holland over to around Alma, that's where the significant snow will be falling. 8-day forecast looks like this. A windy day tomorrow, so that 32 won't feel that warm. Temperatures will be falling during the day on Sunday as the snow hits, and we will continue to see that Arctic blast come in Sunday night, Monday, and Tuesday with strong winds, blowing and drifting snow, bitter cold temperatures, some of the colder wind chills we've seen around here in about 6 years. Wednesday will be a better day as winds die off. It will still pick up snow. Temperatures moderate close to freezing by the end of next week.
Thanks, Bill. Thousands were without electricity in the Lansing area, and the GM of the Lights and Power Company there, nowhere to be found. Up next, he defends taking a vacation while many were left in the cold and dark. Fifth Third Ballpark stands tonight badly damaged. Coming up at 6, we'll explore the challenges firefighters faced while battling those flames. When utility workers were called into Michigan to restore power after last week's ice storm, the general manager of Lansing's Board of Water and Light was on his way out. Peter Lark has apologized for his absence during the restoration efforts, but refuses to resign from his position. Lauren Evans from our Lansing affiliate has this story.
He finished speaking and people applauded. BWL General Manager Peter Lark Thursday admitted to leaving town to spend time with his family in New York City, while thousands of BWL customers were without power.
In hindsight, it is now clear that my trip to New York was the wrong decision at the wrong time.
Lark spoke to the media in front of BWL employees, mostly management, he said. He acknowledged the trip was a very bad idea, but says he didn't realize it at the time.
When I left, when I made the decision, I was not thinking, uh-oh, I screwed up. I was thinking, this is a storm, most of it will be completed, most of the damage, a substantial amount of damage will be completed at the close of Christmas Day. That's what I was thinking.
Councilwoman Aylin Robinson listened to Lark's apology. She says while she appreciates that he owned his decision, it's not enough.
To say that it was just a poor decision goes much further than that and begins to fly in the face of individuals who took their hard-earned money at Christmas time to just be able to get by.
Robinson stopped short of calling for Lark to resign, but did raise questions about his leadership.
I am yet concerned with his ability to move forward and be able to rectify the situation as some poor decision-making has been going on.
Lark told the media he was constantly checking on the utility and directing the restoration effort. He was out of town from December 23rd through Christmas Day. Of course, the big story that we're following today, the blaze at Fifth Third Ballpark. A large portion of the stadium is destroyed. At 6, extended team coverage and a live interview with co-founder and CEO Lou Chamberlain about the future of the well-known park. It's all coming up, as well as our team coverage, as we have all the angles. We've been bringing you the best coverage all day. We continue at 6.